Fantastic. So let's go live on YouTube. Okay. Fantastic. Good morning, everyone. And today is kind of like an important day in cryptocurrency. At least yesterday was, because as the title of this said, we had finally we had the Ethereum merge happening, which is something that had been in the cards now for a number of years. So what that means, I'll try to make this accessible to everybody, so that if you are new to crypto, you know what I'm talking about, and if you're already in crypto, we can then talk about some more complicated stuff already. But let's start with the explaining roughly what the merge was. It was a move from a type of consensus mechanism like the one that Bitcoin uses, which is called proof of work, where powerful computers basically compete to solve very complicated puzzles that require expensive computers to do a lot of calculations. And they moved to a system called proof of stake, where the system is more like a lottery. It's based on the number of coins that you hold. Now, what's the difference between these two systems? Mainly is, apart from, without going into technicality and discussion of, which system is more secure and if one is better than the other, the big difference, which is what the general public has kind of latched onto, is the energy usage. Okay, so proof of work, because there are so many computers that need to be connected to the network to then make, let's say, these cryptocurrencies work, use a lot of energy. So, for example, Bitcoin use an amount of energy that's comparable to like a country like Belgium or Argentina, for example. So there have been a lot of criticism, although not completely justified, of this, especially now in a period where we are in an energy crisis. And the fact that Ethereum has moved to something that is seen as a greener source of working of energy, is nothing that is new, because most of the cryptocurrencies that are there, apart from Bitcoin, use a proof of stake validation system. But Ethereum, being the second largest cryptocurrency and making this transaction, makes very big news, which is reported not just in the crypto industry, but even on the mainstream media. So let me share my screen and show you some of these with you. Okay. So I'll talk about this later. This is an economic calendar, but I'll talk to that in a second. This is, for example, this is a report by Forbes. So we see how these cryptocurrencies news now going to the mainstream media. So here Forbes is reporting that the Ethereum merge is now complete, which happened yesterday morning, and talking about begins a new era of cryptocurrency. Now, this is excuse my language, but it's mainly rubbish, because this is something that has already been happening for a while, as I said, with lots of other cryptocurrency projects. But it is a big news for Ethereum, and obviously Ethereum is the largest smart contract platform, and it has a lot of decentralized applications that are based on its system. Okay, so this is the actual screenshot of when the merge happened. This is the lines of code. Obviously, we're not going to read all the codes, but this is when the proof of stake was actually activated, and there was a big launch party live to see this happening. And as I was saying, it marks a big shift, not just for Ethereum, but also for how cryptocurrency is seen as a whole industry. Okay, so what change this will bring to the industry is not so much connected to Ethereum, but is connected to the people that haven't yet invested in cryptocurrencies, but may be convinced to approach the industry now because they see one of the main obstacles that have been covered by the media extensively about the energy usage is being in a way removed. So, so this is what this article generally is talking about, and also this is another article that's reported by CNN, again another main source of the mainstream news that is talking about the merge. Now, just to make you realize, if you are in crypto yourself, and you know a little bit of details about the merge and Ethereum and proof of stake, etc., this is the kind of thing that is reported in mainstream media, which is very, 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 very basic. Okay, so and this is the only thing that even the commentators that bring news to you, this is all they understand about crypto. Okay, which is very little. It's just saying basically that Ethereum and Bitcoin were running proof of work, which requires a lot of energy, and now they're using, and now Ethereum is using another system called proof of stake that uses little energy, and this is as far as they go. Okay, so this makes you I just wanted to show you this because I wanted to realize how much of a pioneer you are, even just listening by this. And by getting interested in cryptocurrency, because most people know absolutely nothing about it. And this is just the kind of thing that people say just to make it look as if they know something, but they don't really. Okay, but it's still a step forward that these things are being talked about in Forbes, in CNN, because a year ago you would have had to dig really deep to find information reported on the mainstream news. Okay, now, and this is the main narrative, which is now the green ETH. ETH stands for Ethereum. Those of you that they're not like that involved in crypto, and the idea is now that lots of I'd say big investment funds and something like this now will be allowed to invest in crypto, because a lot of these funds have some rules that they need to follow. And as the green narrative has increased over the past few years, one of those rules as well for some of the funds is that the projects they invest in must have some green credentials. Okay, so this opens up the a cryptocurrency, at least in the eyes of a lot of these investment companies, because for them it's not just the fact they can invest in green cryptocurrency projects and then they might go and invest in the new project that just come out. No, that's not going to happen for investment funds. They need a certain liquidity, so they need projects to have a certain size. And at the moment, there is only a few projects. They are institutionally investable. Okay, so we're talking mainly about the top 10 projects in the cryptocurrency market cap. Okay, but generally this is the big narrative that is being talked about, and we will delve a little bit deeper in a second about the the more technical aspects of it as well. But it's let's take a step back and see what happens in the markets in just yesterday and also in the last few days. I mean, the markets are still being dominated by macroeconomics, and so big. This is why every week I'll show you something like the economic calendar, which is not connected to crypto at all, but just generally macroeconomic news. And the main news this week was the inflation announcement. Okay, so which here, sorry, in CPI, which came at a little bit higher than expected, and also the retail sales that continue to be negative. Okay, so and also another big report that's not even here is about mortgage cost in the US, which are now at level around the average now interest rate for a mortgage is about 6%. and we're only seeing, interest rates at those levels during the last recession. So it's been a while since we've seen those kind of interest rates in the economy. And this is what, when we look at the cryptocurrency industry, this is CoinGecko, which is a data aggregator in crypto. We can see that pretty much has been a red day. Okay, so with most cryptocurrencies going down in price. Okay, and obviously you'll be thinking, why is Ethereum going down so much? 8% in one day, when this is, good news for Ethereum, the fact that they completed this transition that has been talking about for for the last 4 or 5 years. Now the reason is because mostly, and this is just not in crypto, but in stocks and shares as well, there is this thing about buying the rumor, selling the news. And if we see here, so this is talks about this merge, and this is what is kind of like a couple of days ago, why Ethereum price will drop right after the merge. It's because of this reason. There was, if we just take a little bit of the of what's happening in the market in general and just compare here, this is a chart of Ethereum price in Bitcoin. Okay, so basically it shows the higher up the chart we go, it means that Ethereum is doing better against Bitcoin, and the lower down it goes, it means that Ethereum is doing badly against Bitcoin. So you see what happened here. This is a daily chart. If we go into the hourly chart, so you see what happened yesterday, which is roughly here when the merge happened, and we can see then the price started dropping. Okay, now it seems to have stopped here for the past few hours, but the price went down significantly, in Bitcoin terms, and we can measure this. We can measure this drop. This is where we are right now. So about 8% drop in Bitcoin terms. And it's a similar, when you say this is the chart instead of Ethereum against the US dollar. Okay, so similar story here, a little bit more. So here is 10% instead of 8%. A little bit more because obviously Bitcoin has gone down as well. So a little bit of the drop is being absorbed by the drop in Bitcoin as well. But if we see, this is where we can compare the two charts. So the candle chart is Ethereum, and this line is the price of Bitcoin. Now, if you can see here, and this is kind of just for the past few days, but we can take it further down and look at it on the daily chart. That Ethereum and Bitcoin have been very highly correlated. You can see there isn't much difference, which it's not like one goes up and the other one goes down and they diverge. They're going in the same direction all the time. Obviously, as you can see from this chart, what this chart tells me is that Ethereum is a little bit more volatile than Bitcoin. So you can see that the change in prices are more rapid, both on the way up and on the way down. Okay, so there's more volatility in the price of Ethereum than there is in the one of Bitcoin, but pretty much they just followed each other. This goes back to, this is from March. Okay, this is from March, and we can see that they go in step, in step the whole time. And even now, if you think, gosh, Ethereum has gone down a lot in terms of Bitcoin, it's dropped 10% or whatever. Well, do we want to put things into perspective a little? If I scroll down and so make it into a bigger and bigger and bigger time frame. So can you still see this chart? Yeah. So this is where we were at the end of 2021. So compared to in the past year and a half, 2 years, Bitcoin has gone up. No, sorry, it's not true. So let's look at the beginning of 2021, okay? Which is roughly here. This is the beginning of January. So we can see that even now with this latest drop, Ethereum has had a growth much higher than Bitcoin. Bitcoin has actually dropped 30% in price. Ethereum has doubled in price. Okay, so I always remind you, try not to look too much into the short term unless you are trading every day and doing day trading and look at the small changes in price. don't look too much at the short-term movement, because these asset class is highly volatile. So you will see a lot of ups and downs, but look at the trends. That's more interesting. Okay, so it is interesting because looking at it against each other, because you then take pretty much the currency out of the equation. So you're not worried about too much about what's happening with the price of these two against the dollar, but you're just looking at the relative price of one against the other. Okay, which is the chart that I was showing to you before. So this is just a Bitcoin against the dollar, and the line, and Ethereum against the dollar, the candle chart. This instead is a direct chart of Ethereum price in Bitcoin. So it's a combination of the two previous charts that I've showed you. So it just makes it kind of more easily visually easy to understand. And we can see this, Ethereum, Bitcoin, we can see the difference basically from, so go back to where we were before 2021. No, actually it doesn't go. Sorry, this chart, I'm looking at only a 1 hour chart. I'm looking at the daily chart and bring it to 2021. Actually, we could go back all the way to 2019. This is where we were in 2020, beginning of 2021, okay? So we're already 2.5 times higher price of Ethereum compared to Bitcoin compared to the beginning of 2021. If we go back to 2019, we're about 5 times higher. Okay, so this is the trends that you should concern yourself with if you are thinking of investing in cryptocurrency. Not so much how they are doing against the dollar, because that's highly changeable. But if you're thinking you want to buy cryptocurrency, what should I buy this? Should I buy that? These are the kind of things that you need to look at. Okay, let's move on. Now, this is the moment that the merge happened. Okay, so you can see it looks a little bit like a flat lining here, and this is the chart of the hash rate. What the hash rate, it means the computing power that is employed to make the network function. And as we were coming closer to the merge, and you can see computer kept dropping off because they knew that their power would have been wasted, because their work wouldn't generate, after this point, wouldn't generate any more rewards. So obviously they wouldn't want to spend money if they weren't getting anything in return. Okay, so this is I just wanted to show you the moment when that happened. Now, what we think it can mean, and this is just a chart for yesterday, so take it with a pinch of salt. It is thought that Ethereum may become deflationary. In simple words, it means that every year there might be less Ethereum coins in circulation at the end of the year than there were at the beginning of the year. Okay, this is because a number of the transaction fees that are charged every time you make a transaction on Ethereum are now being burned. Okay, and so it is thought that maybe this level, which was reached just before the merge, may never be reached again, because Ethereum doesn't have a maximum supply like Bitcoin. Okay, so the Bitcoin has 21 million maximum coin. Ethereum doesn't have a maximum, because it wasn't meant to be to be a currency for payments and as a store of value. But it's only meant to power the smart contracts that run on Ethereum. That with this, so what it really means to me and you is that the number of Ethereum in circulation may start dropping, and this depends on how many transactions go through the system. So the more transactions go through the system, the more Ethereum will be burned, and the more the coin will become deflationary. Yesterday, for example, 177 Ethereum were removed from circulation. So that was about $260,000 that were removed from circulation. So we'll see. We'll have to kind of keep an eye on this kind of metric to see where we are you know, in a little while, you know, maybe in a couple of months, to see if this trend continues or not. Now, if you think this is the end of it, in the sense that it is the end of the you know, development, because they finally did this proof of stake, actually no. Think again. So this is what it's happening right now. So we have just completed this phase at the top called the merge. We got other things coming, which are the surge, the verge, the purge, and the splurge. You know, how don't they like assonance in this thing? But what does that mean? Is that we just having allowed the proof of stake, it means it makes from the, without going into all the technicalities, it makes the blockchain a little bit more pliable in a way, so they can do more things with a proof of stake than they could do with the proof of work. And this is part of the reason why Bitcoin has become so stale in a way, because, you know, everything they do on Bitcoin takes, you know, an enormous amount of time, because nobody can agree on what needs to be done next. But the system in the proof of stake allows for more flexibility. Okay, so they just completed this, which to you won't mean very much. So the things that you can do in Ethereum today compared to yesterday hasn't really changed. The only thing you can do, you know, the only thing that's changed for you is that now you'll be able to stake Ethereum more easily than before. Where before the rewards were going to the miners, now the same rewards would go to the stakers. Okay, so that's the main difference to you. But really, nothing much has changed. It's not as if now Ethereum has become cheaper to transact on, or if now the transactions are going to happen a lot faster. That is not going to happen yet. That's the next phase. And they're talking about the surge, which is where they will introduce what is called sharding. And this means basically that instead of the transaction being put through, imagine, one blockchain, the blockchain will be split in a number of shards, so that instead of having just one blockchain to record a transaction, you have some, you know, parallel blockchains working at the same time, so that will increase transaction speed. This is a system, for example, that's already used by Harmony protocol, for example, and by other projects as well. So again, it's not new. It's something that's already out there. It's already been used, but obviously it will be new to Ethereum. And this stage, you know, they think that, you know, this is what Vitalik Buterin, the founder, says, is that this stage will then bring Ethereum from where they are now, but basically they are, you know, roughly about 14, 20 transactions per second, to the hundreds of thousands of transactions. Now, I think, yeah, it's fantastic, but by then, you know, a number of other blockchains will already be there anyway. Because again, this is not new. Nothing that they're doing is new. Okay, they are doing it obviously in scale because they're the largest smart contract crypto and platform at the moment. But these are the things that are coming in the future. So is this, and then that would allow also you know, the layer 2 zero knowledge rollups protocol. So these things will take years again to develop. Okay, it's not something that's going to happen tomorrow. Okay, so if you think that because the merge happened, then everything will change in Ethereum, just think again. This is not the case. And this is kind of like different plans for scaling, for example. So this is telling you where these steps are, and you know, proto dunk sharding and things like that. So don't worry about if you don't understand what it means, because I don't either. But you know, you can read about it if you want to. But the biggest increase for you and me, where you will see the difference in Ethereum, will be the zero knowledge rollup, and generally with the rollup technology. Now, going back, the rollup technology as well is not going to solve everything. So what it does, basically the rollup technology bunches transactions together, and then it records on Ethereum. Instead of recording transactions one by one, it records one batch at a time. So obviously you still have one transaction cost, but the transaction fee is split between hundreds, sometimes thousands of transactions. So the costs are incredibly lower and also a lot faster, because a lot of the transactions don't happen on Ethereum, but happen on the layer 2 solution, and then they are recorded on Ethereum later. Okay, so even that is not going to be a solution for everything, because what that means, even when we go to layer 2 and zero knowledge and optimistic layer 2 technologies, at the moment the technology for layer 2, the optimistic rollups, zero knowledge snarks, zero knowledge starks, and snark based Ethereum virtual machines. So even when we are using this technology, and they're already on the market, so they're already working, that means from the point of view of Ethereum that the network will then require higher and higher spec validators. So each blockchain, whether it is Ethereum, whether it's Cardano, or whether it's any other blockchain, will need computers to do the say, I would call it the back office works. Okay, and the problem is that with this technology, means that the computers that need to support the network will need to be bigger and bigger and bigger, and so making it more difficult as an entry level. So where, you know, many people could, at the beginning of cryptocurrency, run a node in Ethereum, in Bitcoin, with pretty much with a home computer. Now you need much more powerful computers, and this size is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, so that it's becoming like the plaything of big business and not like everyday people like us. Let me see. Okay, let me just starting to close some of these pages, because as you can see, I've got a lot of tabs open. Okay, another thing that I wanted to bring to you is it's an effect on the real world. As soon as the merge happened, gas, I'm not talking about gas, Ethereum gas, this is like real gas they use for heating your homes. The price of gas has dropped 10%. Okay, because a lot of Ethereum Ethereum proof of work machines use gas for the electricity, a part of the electricity. Okay, so the demand for gas has declined, and as a result, the price of gas has dropped, which should be good news for all of us. And that means that we're going to spend a little bit less money long term to heat our homes. So we're almost coming to the end of the Ethereum lots of news. So this is again another talking about the green effect of this merge. The energy usage dropped 99.99% after the merge. So this is to make you understand the difference between a proof of work and a proof of stake cryptocurrency. So it's a huge difference. It's not just like something that marginal improvement. It's a massive improvement. Okay, and this is kind of like an article that talking about what I was saying to you a little while ago. So this is the founder of Binance, okay, Mr. Zhao, and I was saying exactly what I was saying to you. So I said, don't expect things to change overnight after the merge. So don't expect the gas fees will drop from $10 to 2 cents overnight. So it's a long process. It's going to happen eventually, but it's not going to happen overnight. So this is something that takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of upgrades like sharding. So so a lot of people might be disappointed by looking at and saying, yeah, the merge happened, but so what? I'm still paying more on Ethereum to do any transaction than I pay anywhere else on any other blockchain. So just bear that in mind. And this is actually, like, from a technical point of view, after this switch to a proof of stake with the merge, Ethereum dropped very quickly, as you can see here in the chart below. And what the reason for that is that many traders were liquidated, because traders, day traders, that is, mostly trade on margin, So that means that they trade bigger amounts than what they have in their account. And so when when the market goes against them, the broker actually saying you either put more money up or we liquidate your account, which is what happens right here. And this is all happens automatically, by the way. So can happen in seconds. And so sometimes when there are these big movements, and there are some of the traders that were let's say supporting a move up, so they were betting on Ethereum's price to go up post the merge, actually got liquidated. So we can see this happening very quickly, and then the price starts settling down because they rinsed out all the leverage out of the market. Okay, so this is why we see these big movements sometimes when something like this happens. Now, this is more of a technical point of view. Okay, talking about Ethereum Classic is a coin that's been in the market for years, and this is where years ago there was a disagreement in the Ethereum community, and some computers went to supported the Ethereum Classic fork, and some computers supported the Ethereum voice today known as Ethereum. And Ethereum Classic has always claimed to be the pure version of Ethereum. Now, what's happened is that because many computers that were at work to mine Ethereum now are redundant, so because Ethereum doesn't give them any reward anymore, they're looking for somewhere else to put their computing powers towards and to get rewards, to get coins. So Ethereum Classic has remained a proof of work blockchain. So we can see that many computers now are switched from working on Ethereum to working on Ethereum Classic. And so what I was showing you before, called the hash rate, which is the total computing power that's supporting a cryptocurrency, is gone up a lot. In one day, it's gone up about 260% for Ethereum Classic, which is an awful lot. And also another coin, which is called Raven coin, the Raven RVN, which is also one of the proof of work coins that you can mine with the same computers that were used to mine Ethereum. Okay, so this is for the simple reason that people already got the hardware, and they're looking for another way of getting some returns of their hardware investment. Okay, and these are the kind of things that you use. So these are basically the things that were used to mine Ethereum mainly were graphic power units. So they're kind of the basic graphic cards. Okay, and the same thing that you can use for gaming were used for mining Ethereum. And some of the basic Ethereum machines will have many of these graphic cards working together on the same computer. Okay, and they use a lot of energy. I mean, I know because I've got some here in my loft as well. They are doing this, but this is what they look like. Nothing different from that. So it's the same thing if you got children that got gaming computers, they will have probably one of these cards installed on their computer. This a GPU miner will have 6 or 12 of these cards installed on one computer. So that's the difference. Now, going for a little bit of, and I'm just going to do very quickly a run through about some of the other things worth of note, and then we can open to questions, whether it's about Ethereum or about anything else. Okay, so prepare your questions so we can go straight to this, because today I need to close this at 9 o'clock sharp, as I have got calls straight after. Okay, so this is an interesting thing. If you got children, they will know who Epic Games is. This is the maker of Fortnite. Okay, the most successful game ever. They have actually, they were not first movers in the NFT industry and the cryptocurrency game, but they're saying, well, we don't need to do that. We'll be second movers, and this is what they're doing now. They're launching the first NFT game. Now, this is not going to be a kind of play as you earn type of game, but it just basically is a game where you can do things, you can upgrade your character, but also you can keep the upgrades, and like you do with an NFT. And instead of just paying like Fortnite or the developer for, I don't know, buying a new gun for your game or a new skin, to look different in the game, and then there's nothing you can do with that. Now at least you can own your upgrades and you can trade them like with any other NFT. And the fact that big development company like Epic Games is showing their support for the NFT world is speaking speaking volumes. Okay, because it's saying this is the direction of travel. I don't think there is a we're coming back from this change. If you look at all the gaming companies, which a couple of years ago, maybe 5-10% were interested in blockchain and NFTs, now pretty much is 100% now. Everybody's getting into it one way or another. So obviously there are different models of approaching this, and different companies will take will use different models, but still it shows how blockchain and NFTs is now going into the main game developers as well. So it is pretty big news from that point of view, because gaming is a huge industry, okay, very huge industry, and it has billions of users all across the world. So by gaming starting to use blockchain and NFTs will bring a lot of new users to cryptocurrency too. Okay, changing tack completely, talking about China. The cryptocurrency mining has been banned in China, but now a court has ruled that crypto can be traded as long as it is not used as a currency. So it basically this court has ruled that crypto is an asset, like many other assets, like gold, like silver, something like this. So you can trade it. It's not illegal to trade it, but obviously it is illegal to use it as a currency. So that in a way is a big step forward as well, because China again is a big market, and also a big market for crypto. Up to a year ago, they were controlling about 50% of the computing power of Bitcoin before mining was banned in China. So then the miners position their machine now elsewhere in the world, but there's still a lot of people that obviously they got lots of cryptocurrency in China. So this is good news for the whole industry again. Okay, moving on. Let's talk. Obviously, we couldn't talk about crypto without mentioning Cardano. As you know, I am a fan, and I think Jonathan is here as well. Jonathan, as you know, is a stake pool operator in Cardano, so he's the real deal. And by the way, Jonathan, as they don't have a lot of time at the end, can you post the link to your event in the chat box? Jonathan runs a room on Discord at 9:30 on a Friday to talk about all things Cardano. So I will recommend very highly that you go and follow that as well as soon as this ends. Okay. So the big thing about Cardano, has reached a milestone of 50 million transactions. And again, Cardano, as you know, we talked about it before, it's got this big upgrade coming as well next week. Should happen on the 22nd, called the Basel, the Basel upgrade. And again, that would probably mean the upgrade that many DeFi, decentralized finance apps, will start then being released on Cardano. So, and if you see this kind of number of transactions, it's interesting to see about 920,000 of those transactions just happened during the last 2 weeks. So you can see how much pace is picking up. Okay, and after the 20 seconds, the amount of transactions of Cardano will increase, a lot. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't say exponentially. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but it will increase a lot because there's going to be a lot more apps on Cardano, so a lot more people that interact with these apps. Every time they interact with these apps, you need to use ADA, which is the gas currency of Cardano. And so the number of transactions will increase a lot. When you factor this in and consider that Cardano is already the number one in terms of value transacted on the blockchain, and on many days it has as much value transacted as Bitcoin and Ethereum put together, that makes you understand as well how excited people are about this this upgrade too. You know, as we've seen with Ethereum, it doesn't mean that the price will do anything in particular after the 22nd, but the one thing that we can say that, you know, with certainty is that the number of transactions will go up. Okay, then obviously long term this is good for Cardano. Short term, the price will do what the price does, and probably will be, you know, again, it's like buy the rumor, sell the news. You know, maybe the price will start, you know, shooting up. We don't know. We don't know exactly what's you know, what's going to happen, but definitely it is, again, it's another big big upgrade, and you know, something that the community has been waiting for a while now. Okay, because it was supposed to be a couple of months ago, but they, you know, that's the good thing about Cardano, is that they take their time doing things. Okay, so they wanted to make sure that everything was correct and there were no bugs in the code before they released this upgrade, because it's a lot more difficult doing what Ethereum have done, trying to change the way the blockchain works once you have you know, hundreds of thousands of apps that are working on it. Okay, so Cardano works in a scientific manner and make sure that everything is correct before they release it. Okay, and again, this is another news in Cardano. The Cardano blockchain, it will be, they just closed the deal to ensure quality of Georgian wine. Now, you know, Georgia, it was part of the you know, USSR, one of the states, and this is not something that happens overnight. Again, Cardano has been in Georgia for a while, for years now, the same as they've been in Africa, in Ethiopia, and other countries for a while. So this is not just like last minute deal that you would do economically. This is the result of years of presence in Georgia. So what they will do is just like they will use to map the quality of Georgian wine, because you know, there is a lot of fraud with wine trading, and this is one of the uses, the more practical uses of blockchain technology, is proving the supply chain of a particular item, and in this case will be used for wine to check its authenticity. Okay, so we'll be generating a unique QR code. They'll be able to to check on the Cardano blockchain. So interesting things. And on other things, I wanted to bring to you a couple of, again, good news for the whole industry. This is from the Bitcoin magazine. BigCommerce is a platform a little bit like Shopify, you know, that helps payments online for online shops. Okay, so now they launches Bitcoin payment for over 60,000 merchants. So it will be possible to integrate and get for shops online to get paid directly in Bitcoin. And we're not talking about, you know, exchanging Bitcoin for fiat and then the merchant receive fiat. This is direct Bitcoin payments. Okay, so you say, how much is that? I would say, oh, that thing is, I don't know, 500 Satoshi, and you will pay, and the merchant will receive the payment in Bitcoin directly. Okay, so again, is a big news in terms of adoption of you know, Bitcoin in this case, but obviously Bitcoin is always a front runner. So as this happened for Bitcoin, other agreements will come in later, because as people become more familiar with interacting in cryptocurrency, then they're saying, well, yes, I've got Bitcoin, but I've also got Ethereum, Cardano, Polkadot, I want to spend those too. So soon will be integration for other cryptocurrencies as well. And on big names as well, like if you're in Europe, you might have flown with Vueling. Now Vueling will accept Bitcoin payments through BitPay. So from early next year, you'll be able to buy flights mostly European flights, that directly in Bitcoin. Okay, and last thing is talking about Polygon. Matic, you might have known Polygon, and again, they've been in the news a lot in the past few weeks, because they closed a lot of deals with big names. So you might have read about the agreement with Disney. They also had an agreement with Coca-Cola and Starbucks. Not directly, but they launched so both Coca-Cola and Starbucks launched NFTs on Polygon. So again, this brings attention to Polygon as a blockchain, as a enterprise ready blockchain to launch products for these people. Because at the end of the day, they don't so much care about NFTs, about blockchain or anything else. What Coca-Cola and Starbucks only care about is reaching their target audience. Okay, and if their target audience is in cryptocurrency, then they will be in cryptocurrency too. If it's on the metaverse, then you'll see them in the metaverse. They only want to reach their customers in whichever way it is. So years ago might have been an advert on the motorway, on a big billboard in a motorway, and then adverts on newspapers, and then adverts online on websites, etc., etc. Now all this attention, a lot of the investment is moving again. As you can see, NFTs, yes, they are kind of like a fun thing, but again, this is money that these companies are spending to launch on the blockchain world. Okay, so this is why just look beyond the announcement itself, but think of what it means. It means that there are now big brands, they are spending money in blockchain. So this is why I am positive, whatever the price will do now in the next 3 months, whether Bitcoin goes down to, I don't know, $1, I'm still positive about the market, because there is so much investment coming into the sector that will stay, because these are not kind of like short-term decisions that these companies are making, but very long-term. They got a very long-term view, and they just follow the trends. Okay, so I've been talking a lot today. Let me stop sharing, and let's see if there are questions either here or on YouTube. So sorry, let me just link into the oh, this is strange. And somebody says they can't see us on YouTube, but I can see we are live on YouTube. Okay, I don't know if there's any issue, but can you guys see me okay, at least on Zoom?
100%.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so that's the main thing. Okay, fantastic. So who wants to ask a question? So we're seeing, will the merge make the gas fees lower? Yes, we have covered this earlier on, Tanzin. It will happen eventually, not straight away. As simple as that. So you might see, I mean, the fees on the gas fees on Ethereum have gone down recently anyway from the high fees we had last year. So we're talking for most transactions, we might be talking about maximum of $5-6, compared to the $40, $50, $100 that you saw before. But eventually, when the gas fees will go lower is with the layer 2 scaling. So with the roll-ups, the optimistic roll-ups, the zero-knowledge roll-ups, this is what will bring the transaction fees lower, and the sharding that will happen later. So at the moment, to be honest with you, this is a little bit one of those upgrades, and you think, yeah, we've upgraded to the merge. Well, what's different? Nothing really. So the only thing is that you would be now more easily be able to stake Ethereum. Whether you stake it directly on the chain or you stake it on Binance or another exchange. Now, obviously, with the move of proof of stake, it will be a lot easier, the process. Okay, come on, keep them coming. Any other questions?
The article on the energy consumption was interesting. Do you think that's related to the war at all? Is it a West tactic against the Russians? Try and reduce our reliance on.
No, I think it's a very practical thing. That was just looking at the market. Obviously the market dropped 10% simply because people have switched their power because they're not keeping the. I mean, the problem is that Ethereum was the more profitable GPU mining possibility. So there are two, Jonathan, they got the two types of mining. One is the ASIC mining, which is where you need specific chips that only do one thing. So you can only use those things to mine Bitcoin, for example. And then you got the GPU mining, which are normally like general use computers that you can use for other things. So you can use them for mining Ethereum, or you can use them for gaming. You can use them for whatever you want. And for a lot of these coins, the amount of energy these things consume makes it basically not economic to run. So for me, kind of like I actually switched mine off last month because it was costing me more to run them than than the rewards I was getting. So it's very much depending on this. And if we need to go on to other solutions away from Ethereum that pay even less rewards, a lot of people just switch these machines off. And as a result, they're using less gas. And as a result, then the price, wholesale price of gas goes down because it's supply and demand.
Mm.
Yeah. So I think that was just the case. It wasn't any kind of design, for against Russia or anything like that. I think the price of gas has been going down slightly after the panic when Russia shut down the pipeline to Europe.
Mm.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Do you think you're going to switch to another chain for mining?
I'm going to wait a couple of weeks to see how the market settles, because I would been mining Raven coin before, but even that at the moment is not really profitable. So having to just if I have to spend that money in power, I might just go out and buy those coins myself. What's the point of spending money and spending more in energy than what the coins I receive as a reward they receive, and that's the problem, because this is why many of the mining companies, the ones that do it professionally, are moving to places that have got low cost of energy, because otherwise it's just not, they can't really work at a loss.
Mm. Mm.
So the other thing is, some of you are into gaming. There could be some good news for you, whether if your children are, because you might be able to buy some cheap graphic cards, and the cards that are used for mining are the best they are on the market. Okay, so we're talking about £1,000 worth of graphic card each. So if you can guide, your children would make a wonderful Christmas present for your kids if you give them one of those. I'll tell you, they will be grateful forever. That means that they can play their favorite game without having refresh rates. They have to, stop and see the dreaded wheel anytime, probably at the best time of their game. So yeah.
Yeah, Jacob, my son, has been holding off buying one because there were none available during the pandemic, because everybody wanted them. And yeah, I'll send him out looking now, see if we can find one.
Definitely, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to buy one, at a very reduced price. Obviously, it will be used, but these machines, these cards are normally have very little wear and tear, because they work at their ideal settings and they work in 24 hours a day. They don't. The cards actually get worn when you turn them on and off. Turn them on and off all the time. If they're running all the time, they're fine. They carry on for years. Okay. Any more questions? We got about 3-4 minutes minutes left. So any question regarding anything? It doesn't have to be about the merge, but any query you might have about crypto in general, or the economy, or anything else. I'm not very good on fashion, but apart from that, you can ask me anything you like.
So you've been a DeFi Kingdom fan. I see they've now going to change from one to an alternative coin as well. Yeah,
they're not live yet at the moment. They are what's happening with the DeFi Kingdom. They are switching off from Harmony, and at the moment you can only move to their own blockchain, to the DFK blockchain, which runs on Avalanche. So they are, as they enable features on the DFK blockchain, they're switching them off from Harmony, and then later on, what's on Harmony will be on Clayton, but not yet. So yeah, it's a little bit of a hassle to having to move stuff from one to the other, but this is what's going to happen.
So not taking it as advice or anything else, but obviously I've got quite a bit of one. Would you recommend moving that across to Dual and put it on the Crystal Bottle?
The problem with Harmony One is that they are not, that they bridge tokens, so the USDC, the Bitcoin, and Ethereum that was on Harmony One lost the peg, and doesn't look like they are going to restore that peg at all. So it means that they killed the whole DeFi sector on Harmony, and lots of developers have left or are leaving. So I know that DeFi Kingdom obviously is moving to Clayton. There was a Magic. There was another project that's moved to Avalanche. Another one that's moved to Kronos. So everybody's leaving. So what is going to happen with one long term? Your guess is as good as mine, but I'm not that enthusiastic about it anymore. So yeah, still, I mean, if you're on DeFi Kingdom, you can still get really good rates by staking, Jewel and Matic or Avalanche or something that we're still around the 200% mark. So so you don't need to rush out of it yet. But a lot of the functions are now slowly being switched off. So I don't know how long that will carry on there as well. But at the end of the day, the tokens that you are staking now are Jewel, Avalanche, Phantom. So those are tokens that you can move. They're not Harmony One related tokens. Okay.
Is this fallout from the Nomad vulnerability?
No, there was the actual. It was their own bridge that was hacked, and they lost about 1/3 of the liquidity. So a lot of it was Ethereum, USDC, and I think so. Now the USDC on Harmony is worth 10 cents to the dollar. So that's the big pain, and we're just waiting to hear what how they are going to basically pay back, or at least give some sort of compensation to everybody that lost funds because of it. And it's still now it's happened about 2 months ago, and they're still discussing how to do that. So we'll see. I'll keep you informed if when there are developments. But the project itself, DeFi Kingdom, is not Harmony related. DeFi Kingdom is still carrying on happily and progressing quite nicely. So guys, I'll need to close the room now. So I encourage you all to go and join Jonathan in the link. I mean, probably most of you might have been there before, but the link is in the chat box. So at 9:30 sharp. Okay, and yeah, we'll have a chat later, Jonathan. All right. Okay. Goodbye, everyone, and I will see you next week. Have a good weekend.